Mema obi akwa shanko kraba ordinary TV so na meso senedi na he ordinary TV a meso modern subscribe like na be share video we am obi bi ahwe etiefo ensem dodo na etiefo abeto na so ene dey na ye boy sen mu a etiefo meso so be gibre obi relax na say ye boy ensem ne koji ensem ntwemu abesia na ene dey ye ne ye mu twemu UBSA lecture ba ko wa ye frɛ no Dr. James Kwabena Bomfe ene etiefo ene dey a TV station ba ko say HD on my Ghana masia just okotena so otimi ni deputy general secretary etimi ekohia America Mustapha bandi ehonsem na mekan na mkochia na ensem bebre na etimi kwa so wo na mum point bi na say yia amam ya be bia na say wo hie pan na ordinary TV brem na fa delivery John Dramani Mahama oni na ban abeto Ghana komua zati for the say eno ani talk of the day say we are so say won sim na say wa kan no na we na lecture yi betu edwa say ensemble kula no Mustapha na te say etimi eka simbi ma lecture na etim be so na Mustapha pese say o kamani wiem say one city delivery for abeto ejoi it doesn't have any impact on the citizens of Ghana. Now we na lecture ebesumaka say eyankwa asem na band kan person yen say one city it doesn't have any impact. Now why na betimi aso an akọ gas station say okoto petrol 1 liter and I say moto mpukula say okoto petrol 1 liter na say one city mpo no for a demand more than nanado dan ko ekufad na mamu ode bayer Taxation be go komukula one city levy it demanding more than nanado dey na for the lecture one fa am spare Mustapha kura oka be na echenye pa emanu say instem na woka no onhwe de all kan yi na wan hwe ya be wie ase na say wasaire enunu na for asachim ko chiri ka say Ghana for ya na yepe na yakofa wi na abeso aye ho na just say ya tiaho jwa yempe just say amakum impinifo ene commerce bi esa native for yen sebre no mesro say bejibre ne kutie in 79 abesisia ne ba yedi in 79 ebetom so nti metina enka in seminhye impinifo bi ano wasi ajibre ne kutie in 79 from anere o mane ba ne ba ye ordinary TV di 9 abesomo mabobo an yenkom resia ebo afra chiri be nade anko bia ahanai ordinary yenkom resia me da obransi onyabre ahwe.
What are we talking about? The problem is what Mustapha summed up and went round in circles contradicting him.
Doc, whilst you're at it, I'd like you to also address in your submission the people or those who say that it looks like the government is abusing the goodwill that they have so far because they think it is the perfect time to impose a tax, and if they did it any longer, it wouldn't have worked. You want to address that for me?
I will address that quickly. It is not abusing the goodwill they had. They never had any goodwill. The government is abusing the disgust at the last regime, which appears to be a goodwill for them, and they must learn. I'm telling you, 2017, I said certain things of the last regime to be careful of the artificial win of 2016. Just as I'm saying, mark it on the wall, 2024, the elections outcome was an artificial in nature if you do a thorough study of election patterns. But that is not the subject of this conversation. If they want, they can interrogate the figures, the data, and what it is saying. They were shocked at the numbers they had in Parliament. If he thinks that they actually worked for it, that's another matter. But let's deal with this issue. At the bottom of this matter is what Mustapha said and what Vicky has mentioned. We live in an era where we talk about collaborative leadership. No matter how visionary you are, no matter how altruistic you are, no matter how embracing you are, if you don't bring the people along to buy into something very good for them that you are pursuing, it may be misconstrued. You have mentioned the stakeholder engagement. It's the way out. Do you think we will be talking about this after the fact if people had been engaged thoroughly? The problem with e-levy, if you care to know, it's not about who was in charge. It was about the poor management of stakeholders. and you want to follow that same line, for me, you have given a very good rationale or reasoning that everybody in this country would have bought into. That look, we are experiencing a plummeting or downflow of the figures in the oil sector. We have a huge debt there that we have to clear. Let's take advantage of this period in the circumstances, and that's why Vicky's point about the sunset clause in the bill that was passed under certificate of urgency would have, included all these things. I believe that nobody will be talking. As she said, we have already started paying it. Yeah. But why are you now asking after the fact for them to go and engage? Because it was necessary. And so when we make admissions, it makes governance very good. There won't be any long lecture.
And people even appreciate it.
People will appreciate it. Yeah. People will not see you as arrogant. And Mustapha, I want to say this. Look, MFA, yeah. I sit here as a politician, and I have mentioned it. People have issues with how I even explain. I used to be partisan, and I ran to be the chief executive of a political party. Since 2020, I said I will no longer be partisan, and I quit the political party I joined. But I'm still politically active, making political statements, and I will take political positions. However anybody will construe it, I'm saying that I will not be partisan. But even me sitting here, and all of us, sometimes including the media, the Ghanaian populace have doubts as to the sincerity of what we say, even on air. It is some of these things. When you don't involve the people and you think that you know how they live better than them, they watch you. And the moment we lose confidence in our public space, we are on autopilot that you were talking about. In this country, what are the values? Where are the limits? Where are the benchmarks that we will say that even among thieves, there is honor? You can steal from anybody. But when you steal from a fellow thief, they say you've crossed the red line. They will deal with you and kill you. Do we have that in our public space? That our public office holders, when we are saying certain things, we show that, oh, we are disagreeing on all matters, but as for this one, we are agreeing on that. We need to have those standards in our conversations. I don't think that there would ever be a government that can say that it is without fault. But have we ever seen a government admit its faults in its tenure? As if we are running and ruling with angels. It defeats the purpose of collective governance. So I plead that if we are all admitting that the absence of stakeholder engagement ahead of passing this thing was a deficiency, was a mistake, let's admit it and move on. Lastly, we still have it in our books, a law and a tax regime to clear off energy sector debt. That is ESLA. It was passed by former President Mahama when he was in his first term. I'm advisedly using former President Mahama because as he then was in 2015, as at that time. Yeah. He passed it when he was president. Now he's come back, and we are introducing another energy sector debt cleanup under a new tax regime. What becomes of the two? Could we not have maintained ESLA with some adaptations?
I'll explain that to you.
No, I'm just saying that if we had had a stakeholder engagement without seeing it as a new tax regime, but whatever it is, we have done it. It is now law. If anybody feels that it was improperly done or unconstitutionally followed, I think that at this stage it is the courts that can address that. But until then, I want to advise that going forward, what Ghanaians want to see is this. There must be accountability of the taxes that they pay. What our monies are used for. It should be transparent, it should be open, and people who handle the purse must be accountable. I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, and just I want to actually re-emphasize that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because that was a point that I wanted to make as well. NDC has a lot of goodwill at the moment with Ghanaians, and it's important that they carry Ghanaians along throughout the 4 years. And so for this particular matter, I think transparency is paramount. They should explain, and then they should carry all Ghanaians along through transparency and also explaining to all of us how the money is being utilized. Because Ghanaians are willing, we're all willing to pay. I mean, we want to see our country prosper, but we have to understand